Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by saying this: you have more power than you think. But too often we hand that power over to people who didn't earn it in situations that didn't deserve it. You can't control what people say. You can't stop the world from spinning, the whispers from happening, or the misunderstandings from forming. But what you can control, what you must control, is the story you tell yourself when it all unfolds. That's where your power lies. Not in their words, but in your response to them. Not in the chaos, but in the conversation happening inside your own head. Mastering your inner dialogue is not about pretending you're unbothered. It's about confronting the voice inside that wants to agree with every lie you hear. You know that voice, the one that says you're not good enough. The one that says they don't respect you. The one that replays every insult, every betrayal, every little thing that makes you feel like you've got to prove yourself. That voice, it's loud. It's emotional. And if you let it lead, it'll take you places your soul was never meant to go. See, the real battle isn't out there with them, it's in here with you. The moment someone disrespects you, the moment someone dismisses you, your mind goes to work. They don't see me. They think I'm weak. I've got to clap back. I've got to show them who I am. And suddenly you're not even fighting them, you're fighting your own reflection. You're arguing with yourself. You're defending your value to a voice that was never qualified to question it in the first place. But what if you paused? What if right in that moment you changed the story? What if instead of "they don't respect me," you said "that behavior isn't about me"? Instead of "I can't believe they said that," you told yourself "I control how I receive it." That's power, that's maturity, that's healing. You've got to train your mind to become your sanctuary, not your battlefield. Don't let your thoughts become weapons that you use against yourself. Because you were not born with insecurity, you were taught it. And if you were taught it, you can unlearn it. You don't have to let every passing opinion live rent-free in your head. You don't have to internalize what someone else projected onto you. Speak differently to yourself. When you feel triggered, speak peace. When you feel unseen, speak truth. When you feel angry, remind yourself, I am not what happened. I am how I choose to heal from it. Your inner dialogue should sound like someone who believes in you, not someone who's still trying to earn the approval of people who don't even see the full picture. That's how you rise. That's how you walk away unshaken. Because when you master the words you say to yourself, nobody else's words can master you. Sometimes the greatest freedom you'll ever experience is in the moment you choose not to respond. Not because you're weak, not because you're scared, but because you finally reached a point in your life where peace matters more than being right. And that is when you know the ego has been dethroned. See, ego is loud. It wants to prove. It wants to win. It wants to step into every room shouting, "Don't you know who I am?" It craves validation like oxygen and will drag you into battles just to feed its pride. But peace is quiet. Peace is humble. Peace walks into the same room, calm, composed, and says, I don't need to perform for people who haven't even earned front row seats in my life. And that shift, it changes everything. You don't have to clap back. You don't have to match energy. Just because someone comes at you sideways doesn't mean you have to go there with them. People will say things, do things, try things, and not because they're strong, but because they're operating from their ego. And if you're not careful, their ego will activate yours. Suddenly you're entangled in something that doesn't even align with who you are anymore. That's the trap. Ego says, don't let them talk to you like that. Ego says, show them you're not the one. Ego says you need to make them regret ever coming for you. And if you let it, ego will have you out here performing for people who already made up their minds about you, proving points that don't even need to be proven, draining your spirit over opinions that carry no eternal weight. But peace says protect your energy. Peace says your purpose is louder than their opinions. Peace says let them think what they want, you're busy becoming. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. That's strength with control. That's choosing to protect what's sacred over what's petty. You have to ask yourself, am I reacting to be seen or retreating to stay whole? Because some arguments are designed to rob you of your identity. And every time you lower yourself to ego's level, you lose a piece of your peace in the process. It's not your job to defend your name in every room. It's not your calling to correct every misjudgment. Some people misunderstand you because that's the only version they're capable of seeing. And that's okay. You're not responsible for their perspective, but you are responsible for your peace. Detach. Release, let it go. You don't have to shrink or shout to prove you matter. You don't have to fight battles just because your pride is feeling bruised. There's a deeper strength in silence, a deeper confidence in restraint. And when you learn to let your ego sit down, your peace will finally have room to stand up. There is a split second, a sacred pause between what happens to you and how you choose to handle it. And in that pause, you get to decide, will I rise or will I react? Because there's a difference. Reaction is raw, it's emotional, it's instant. It's your hurt speaking before your healing has had a chance to show up. But response that comes from a deeper place, a place of power, of wisdom, of self-control. Response doesn't rush. It listens. It leans into purpose, not pride. Have you ever said something in the heat of the moment and wish you could grab the words midair and pull them right back? That's what reacting does. It hands over your peace to the moment. But when you respond, you reclaim your authority. You show up with intention, not impulse. People will push your buttons just to see if you're still bleeding. They'll test your patience, question your worth, poke at your insecurities, and the ego will beg you to fire back. Say something. Show them. Don't let them play with you like that. And if you're not grounded, you'll respond not from your identity, but from your injury. And that's dangerous because reacting out of pain only deepens it. See, the strongest person in the room isn't always the loudest. It's the one who knows when not to speak. The one who can hold their peace even when everything in them wants to explode. That's real power. That's real maturity. It's not about being passive. It's about being strategic. You don't fight every fire with fire. Sometimes you fight it with stillness, with silence, with wisdom that knows this moment does not define me. You've got to train your spirit to pause, to breathe, to take a beat and ask, is this really about me? Or is this about something in them? Because most of the time, it's not even about you. It's about what they're carrying, what they're projecting, what they haven't healed from. And you're reacting. That won't fix them. It'll just drain you. So what do? You pause. You get still. You measure your response not by your feelings, but by your values. You ask, will what I say add to the problem or rise above it? That's where the shift happens. That's where growth lives. In the pause, in the stillness, in the power to say, I choose how I move. Because anyone can react. That's easy. That takes no discipline, no depth. But to respond, to look at chaos and say, you don't get to control me, that takes strength. That takes courage. That takes someone who knows who they are and refuses to be reduced by a moment. So when the heat rises, when the pressure builds and your emotions scream for release, pause, breathe. And remember, you're not here to mirror madness. You're here to model mastery. Offense is one of the most underestimated weapons of distraction. It creeps in through words, looks, silence, tone. It sits in your spirit long after the conversation ends. It replays in your mind like a broken record what they said, how they said it, what they meant by it. And just like that, your energy shifts, your peace is disrupted, and your power is no longer in your hands. But what if I told you offense can actually be a gift? You see, offense shows up when something in you hasn't fully healed, when a word cuts deeper than it should, when a tone feels like an attack. When you find yourself offended, that's a signal not of their disrespect, but of your unaddressed wound. And that doesn't make you weak. It makes you aware. Offense is a mirror, not a verdict. It reveals what you still carry, what still stings, what still has a voice in your life. So instead of asking, why did they say that? Maybe the better question is, why did that hurt me so deeply? What nerve did it touch? What fear did it trigger? Because once you can name it, you can heal it. And that is where the transformation begins. People will offend you. That's guaranteed. But how you interpret that offense, that's your power. You can let it harden you, make you bitter, defensive, closed off. Or you can lean in and say, this is showing me where my soul still needs attention. That's not just growth, that's emotional maturity. That's turning pain into purpose. That's letting God use what was meant to shake you to shape you. The person who disrespected you, They may never apologize. The one who hurt you, they might not even know they did. But that doesn't mean you have to carry the wound forever. The offense may not have been your fault, but your healing is still your responsibility. And every time you choose healing over hatred, growth over grudges, peace over pettiness, you rise. Reframing offense is not about pretending it didn't happen. It's not about letting people walk all over you. It's about seeing it for what it really is, a divine interruption, a nudge, a moment that's trying to teach you something about you, your triggers, your expectations, your limits, your next level. So the next time offense knocks on your door, pause. Instead of reacting, reflect. Instead of lashing out, look in. There's gold buried underneath that sting if you're willing to dig deep enough to find it. Because offense will either break you or build you, and you get to decide which it will be. There's a difference between guarding your heart and guarding your ego, and knowing that difference can change the entire way you move through life. The world will tell you to protect yourself by becoming hard. Stay distant. Be unbothered. Keep your walls high and your emotions low. But what they're really teaching is how to guard your ego, not your heart. And the truth is, when you guard your ego too tightly, you lose access to your real power, your softness, your love, your ability to stay open in a world that keeps trying to shut you down. Your ego is the part of you that wants to win the argument, even if it costs the relationship. It wants to clap back instead of pause. It wants to be right more than it wants to be whole. But your heart knows better. It knows that strength isn't always about standing your ground. It's about knowing when to let go, knowing when to stay silent, knowing when to walk away without bitterness, because peace is more valuable than pride. The ego will scream, they disrespected me. The heart whispers, but what is this stealing from me? Ego says, don't let them have the last word. The heart says, this isn't worth my energy. And you have to be so in tune with your spirit that you can hear the difference. Because if you don't, you'll spend your life defending things that don't even matter. You'll build walls around your pain and call it protection, when really it's just self-preservation in disguise. Guarding your heart doesn't mean being naive. It means being intentional. It means knowing what to let in and what to release. It means learning how to process pain without becoming it. Because when you guard your ego, you act out of fear of being seen as weak, fear of being hurt again, fear of being misunderstood. But when you guard your heart, you act out of wisdom. You give yourself space to heal. You choose boundaries over bitterness. You choose discernment over defensiveness. Don't let offense from the past make you cold for the rest of your life. Don't let someone else's immaturity make you abandon your softness. It takes more strength to stay tender in a hard world than it does to build up armor and shut everyone out. Your heart was never the problem. Your ego just got too loud. And it's time to turn the volume down, because the heart, when protected with truth and intention, is the most powerful thing you have. It gives, it feels, it forgives, it leads. So guard it not with walls, but with wisdom. Not with fear, but with faith. Not with pride, but with purpose. Let your ego sit this one out. Your heart knows the way. Your worth is not up for debate. It's not a question mark waiting on someone else's answer. It's not defined by your past, your pain, your popularity, or who claps for you in a crowd. A worth is something you were born with. It's the unshakable truth that doesn't rise and fall with people's opinions, moods, or applause. But life has a way of trying to convince you otherwise, doesn't it? Somewhere along the way, you started tying your value to things outside of you, to relationships, to achievements, to titles, to who stayed and who left, to who saw you and who didn't. But let me tell you something real. When you forget who you are, you start settling for things that don't even fit your identity. You start accepting crumbs because somewhere deep down, you started believing the lie that that's all you deserve, but not anymore. You have to stay rooted in your worth, not sometimes, not when it's convenient, but always. Even when they don't choose you, even when they misunderstand you, even when they walk away, especially then, because your worth doesn't shift based on who stays in the room. It's already set, already sealed, already spoken over you by something bigger than any human voice. You are not defined by who couldn't love you. You are not reduced by the mistakes you made when you didn't know better. You are not broken just because someone failed to recognize your light. People will miss it, your depth, your essence, your spirit, and that's okay. Let them. Your value isn't determined by their ability to see it. Stay rooted. When the world tries to pull you in 100 different directions, when life shakes the ground beneath your feet, when fear whispers that you're not enough, stay rooted. Ground yourself in truth. Remind yourself that nothing outside of you can rewrite what's already been written about you. You were created with intention. You are full of purpose. You are worthy of love, peace, respect, and joy, not because you earned it, but because it's already yours. And don't you dare shrink for anyone. Don't minimize your brilliance to make others feel comfortable. Don't dim your light to match the room. You weren't born to blend in, you were born to stand firm, to be anchored, to carry the kind of confidence that can't be fake because it's rooted in identity, not ego. Stay rooted, even when it's lonely. Stay rooted when it's quiet. Stay rooted when no one claps. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply not move, not sway, not question. Just know who you are and know what you carry. That's your foundation. That's your fire. That's how you stop being shaken by things that were never worthy of you in the first place.